How does a day of a data engineer starts, and what is the life of a data engineer basically like? How does like the career progression looks like in a data engineer's life? What is the interview process and the timeline like of a data engineer, especially when it comes to joining any of the FAANG companies? Does the companies look something when it comes to the culture fit?
You need to showcase your leadership qualities. It was the mistake as well, and everybody does it. That's completely okay. I received like 1500 connection requests.
All right, our viewers, we have a very special guest with us today. It's none other than Shashank Mishra. He's worked with Amazon, he's worked with Paytm, he has worked with many big companies. He's a YouTuber, he's a mentor, he has done over 55 events. He's basically done a lot in his life, and basically, he's here with us to share his wisdom. So I'm sure that this conversation is going to be extremely fruitful and extremely insightful for all of us who are here. Well, Shashank, welcome on board. How are you?
Thank you, Abhinav, for this wonderful introduction. I'm doing good, and hi to everyone who is watching this video. Really excited for this session to share my experience, whatever I've been doing in data engineering so far.
Yeah. So Shashank, since you've mentioned that you work as a data engineer, so how does a day of a data engineer starts, and what is the life of a data engineer basically like? If you can share some light on that.
Yeah, sure. So talking about the day-to-day activities of a data engineer, right, in any of the companies, right? So data engineers, I can explain it with an example, right? Then it will be easy for the audience to understand, right? Because under the umbrella of big data, we know multiple job profiles are there. Data engineers are there, data scientists are there, analysts are there, business analysts, BI engineers, many more. And that is why there is lots of noise as well in the market, who is doing what. Okay. So if I'll take an example of typical data solution, right? Let's say you're working for an e-commerce company or a food delivery company, right? You have built that application. So nowadays we know everything is the data. Your web app is there, whatever activities you are doing, that is getting captured, will be stored in the databases, and then based on that, some data driven business decisions will be made. So this is the whole life cycle of the data solution. So data engineers always will be treated as a frontliner in this big data solution, because they are the one who will be taking the complete ownership of those engineering challenges along with the data, right? So a good blend of software engineering who is working closely on the data side, right? So we are the one who will be taking care of those scalable data pipelines, like bringing data from some raw sources. It can be anything, databases, file system, APIs, and just write that pipeline in such a way it is scalable. On the fly, we will be doing the business transformations, right? Whatever will be provided to us from the business teams or our external clients or our customers, and then make that transform data available in the downstream system. And from there, the responsibilities of data scientists and analysts will start. They are not concerned, or they are not bothered about the typical engineering challenges to make that data available 24/7 into the systems. They are much more inclined towards solving complex and sophisticated data mysteries. And that's how you can segregate the role and responsibilities of data engineers and other job profiles.
Great. And how does like the career progression looks like in a data engineer's life? Like what is the next step in the ladder like?
Okay, so the latter part for the data engineering, it will depend on your interest as well after some time, right? But initially, if you just see what are the steps, so you will be starting from the junior data engineer or the data engineer one. Mostly, if I take an example of good product based companies or FAANG companies, so data engineer one, then data engineer two level, then data engineer three. After that, it will be like senior data engineer, lead data engineer, principal data engineer, and then probably you will be on the, once you are on that side, right, the senior data engineer or lead data engineer, then you need to decide your path itself. Because you can go for the architect role, you can go for the data engineering manager, or let's say you can go for people manager. People manager means he or she will not be that much involved into the technical stuffs, but managing more from the resource, project deadlines, scrums, and these things. But if you're a data engineering manager, then you need to involve into the tech stuff as well, along with the managing the whole projects and the team itself. So that's how this like progression looks for the data engineering. And let's say even after spending 4 or 5 years right in the data engineering, you might feel that you want to take a shift. Then probably you would explore data science, data analyst, or business analyst based on your interest. So that's what I said. It will depend on your interest, but in general, these were the steps in the growth trajectory of data engineering.
Okay, great. And what is the interview process and the timeline like of a data engineer, especially, you know, when it comes to joining any of the FAANG companies? So what's the process like?
Yeah, so for the timeline perspective, I'll be really honest. In FAANG companies, on an average, you should consider that 1 month of time, right, will be required for sure. So even whenever you are interested for these man level of companies, you need to start preparing early, and even you need to start applying as early as possible, because that 1 month of time, most of the time what will happen, the interviewer will be overseas or in a different time zone, and you are also working professional. So just maintaining that balance of proper time zone and the timing for the interviews will be difficult. Sometimes your interviews will get rescheduled. So on an average, 1 month of time starting from your first round till the offer and final decision. That is the timeline part. And if you specifically talk about the interview process, so on an average, like 5 to 7 rounds will be there. Your starting first 2 rounds will be completely on the tech understanding, right? The problem solving part and the SQL, right? SQL means good level of SQL, the fundamentals of the big data, whatever you have done so far, or their tech understanding, their architectures, optimization related questions in these first 2 rounds. And then the third round, that will be more towards the data modeling and the data warehousing design, right? So they will be giving you some practical problem statements. Then can you design a data warehouse Spotify, right? Can you design a data warehouse for the Zomato? So you need to come up with the optimized data warehouse. They will be asking you to write few SQL queries, right? In terms of the business matrices. Let's say you design the data warehouse, what kind of business values or business matrices you can pull out. The fourth round will be more towards the design, right? The data pipeline designing. So again, 2 type of discussion can be in this round. One completely related to your project. Let's say you have already done a great project in your past companies, then even that entire round might go in that direction. The overall discussion in the interviewer might add few more problem statement in your existing project. You need to propose architecture, the brainstorming, the complete life cycle, right? You need to complete that round in such a way, or they can directly give you a problem statement that we have this kind of problem statement, we want you to design a data pipeline for that, and then you need to complete it, right? All the data failure points, scalability factors, optimization factors, everything will be there. After 4th round, right, 5th, 6th and 7th, mostly that will be a combination of your behavioral round, combination of the hiring manager and the bar raiser round. So behavioral and hiring manager are always based on hypothetical situation. There is no fixed pattern for it. It will be always they would like to judge you as a good team player, your leadership qualities, right? And how positively you can handle worst of the worst situation in company or in an organization, how you can lead your team. All these qualities will be checked based on some various hypothetical situations. And the bar raiser round is something which will be taken by some external person who is not a part of that team, who is actually hiring you. So that bar raiser actually is a very experienced candidate in that company who would have took more than 200 plus interviews. So any external person, he will randomly come and spontaneously he will try to judge you. Any random thing can happen, might be hypothetical situations, might be project discussions, and it could be a rapid fire round questions, or it can be a typical technical understandings or projects, right? So that's how this whole process goes on into the MANG level companies for the data engineering.
Okay. And does the companies look something when it comes to, the culture fit, like in a particular individual when it comes to his or her personality?
So for that, that would be advice to each and everyone. If you target these companies, they have a very specific set of leadership principles. If I can take a specific example of Amazon, whenever they will send you the interview invite, there they will attach one PDF as well, where all the 14, 16 leadership principles will be mentioned. Same thing will be communicated by the Google recruiter. Same thing will be communicated by the Uber recruiter, Facebook, everywhere, right? So what they want during the entire process, you as a candidate should go through with those leadership principles which those companies are following, and it will definitely help you in your interview rounds, plus especially the behavioral and the hiring manager round. So they are not looking anything specific. They want you to be honest with your experiences so far, right? And the secret sauce to crack this round is be diplomatic with positive side, not be diplomatic with some negative things. Let's say you had a bad experience in a previous company, bad experience with manager, and you are doing a bad mouthing, like that is
Not
basically thrashing the previous company. Yeah.
yes, that is not going to work. You have to be honest with your experiences. Try to be little bit diplomatic with positive attitude, that if you have this kind of hypothetical worst situation right in front of you, how positively you want to take care of it. That's the only thing they will be looking forward to, and how you can actually lead the things. You need to showcase your leadership qualities, right? And that will come out automatically in your project discussions or your interview discussions, how you have led your project, how you have mentored the people in your team, and what kind of solid bonding you have created with your colleagues, right? So that's the only thing they will be looking for, nothing specific.
Great. That's really insightful. Also, like, since we know that you started your journey as a software engineer, and, which was the first company that you initially started working with? And, regarding the job search journey, like, were there any particular hurdles that you had to face?
Yeah, definitely. So my first job I started at Opera Solutions in Delhi NCR itself. That was a service-based company. So there, yeah, my starting time was into the software engineering, but honestly, like I didn't enjoy that part much, and the reason was even in my college time, right? I was not a kind of tech geek, right? I was just into my syllabus, whatever curriculum, and my whole and sole target was to crack any decent job, right? That was the end goal, and that is why I didn't learn anything practically in my college time. That was the mistake as well, and everybody does it. That's completely okay. But as soon as you realize it and you can rectify it, that's really well and
And
Yeah,
that's why
what's
I'm
an
narrating.
engineer's life without having some fun?
yes, exactly. So that's how they started, and that was the prime reason I was not enjoying that part, right? So the fortunate part at that moment, in my first company, it was a service-based company. There were other teams as well who were working on big data. And before joining that company, I didn't even know anything about big data, although it was in the industry, right, 10, 20 years back. But I was so foolish or stupid or kind of like a guy who was not self-aware. That's why I didn't explore these like trends in the IT sector. So fortunately, I got to know about that big data from different teams, and that was the very first time I was introduced to big data, and I started liking it. How that whole distributed computation, petabytes of the data, right? So those words, those terms those were actually very fascinating, and that's how my data engineering journey started from there. And when I was making my first switch, right, that was the most tough part, and even my college placement part was also very tough. Like starting 7 companies, I was not even able to crack the written round of those companies, and Opera Solution was the 8th company, and like I cracked everything, the written and interview. So those 7 companies who rejected me, so Amazon was one of them, Paytm was one of them, and then Adobe and the SAP Labs, Wooker, and one or two more. So I was rejected by those companies. And when I was making my first switch, so that time, since I was just exploring data engineering, I was trying to acquire the skills, but I didn't had sufficient, or you can say those much relevant skills so that I can showcase myself as a true data engineer. That was the most challenging part. That's why I was not even getting shortlisted in multiple companies, right? And even let's say I was shortlisted, so probably in second or third round I was getting rejected because there were a couple of frameworks for that I didn't had the practical understanding. But somehow Paytm showed that interest in me after 2-3 rounds, and I got hired. That was the entire turning point of my life as well as a data engineer. And from there, I'm just like going on and on. That's it.
That's great. That's good to know. Also, do you see any change when it comes to, how the job market and the application to, if you have to apply for any of the jobs, do you see like any change since the time you began your career and till the time that we are in currently? So do you see any change, and like, do you have any special tips for, job seekers of today, like if they're planning to begin their career or if they're planning to switch their career? So what can be the tips that you can probably provide them with?
I would say just follow one particular thing, that is LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn is something which is a game changer, right? And again, I would say in 2017-16, when I started my career, or even when I was making my switch, honestly, I was not active on LinkedIn. I was just having 200-300 followers. I didn't realize its worth, right? I didn't know how to use it effectively and what kind of benefit I can get from it, right? That was the bad luck, I would say. I wish I would like know about it way before, let's say in my college time itself, how to consume it effectively. So that was the, you can say that is the advice I would like to give each and every one. I know there are lots of let's say job portals, Naukri, Monster, Highrise, many more, right? Honestly speaking, you will struggle a lot to get a valid or relevant job call from those platforms. But if you literally want to get hired in good companies and you want to receive authentic job calls, right, then LinkedIn is something you should utilize it very, very effectively. Make a good profile there. Your networking is your worth. Just network with good people in your domain itself, right? Because sometimes what will happen, they will post some job openings. Let's say their companies are hiring, they will post openings, and you will see, you can even directly ask them for a referral, or you can directly even apply, right? Similarly, if your profile is very, very strong, everything is up to date, LinkedIn recruiters, right, you will receive mails directly from them in the LinkedIn, and they will be interested to start your interview process if everything goes well. That's why I'm saying trust the LinkedIn part and use it very, very effectively.
Great. And lastly, it's a FAANG tradition. So you have to share basically 3 tips or maybe more, as many as you are comfortable with, for any job seeker that is looking for a job in the job market, the tips that are basically eternal and it's going to stay forever.
Yeah. So it's specific to FAANG, right?
Yeah. FAANG or any job seeker.
Okay. All right. Cool. So first thing, right, I would specifically talk about the people who are entry level freshers who have started their career. Now, this is the crucial point of your life as well. Crucial point because everybody want to make a good money, right? Everybody want to work in the good companies. Everybody want to acquire amazing skill, right? And it's hard to get everything at one single place, right? So time to time you need to improve yourself, first thing. Okay, so improvement means you need to work on things realistically. Don't just stick to the theoretical aspect, right? So why I'm sharing these tips, because that is something which will help you to crack these tech giants, right? Let's say you know a specific framework and you know it theoretically, you didn't use it practically. So don't assume that those companies gonna ask that let's say what is the fundamental behavior of this particular framework. They will ask, how have you ever used it, how to optimize it, right, how to scale it. They will be asking these kind of questions. So whatever you are doing, make sure you are doing it with practical hands-on. All right. Second thing is something like as a tip to crack these companies, right, as much as you can add value, right, add value as in your skill sets and again your portfolio. So for that, what you actually need to do, you need to depend on your networks as well. Let's say you have connected with multiple people who work in these kind of FAANG companies. Time to time get connected with them, time to time have a chat with them to understand the whole interview process. Right now, let's say I'm sharing this FAANG interview process, somehow it will be helpful for you. You will be able to see, okay, what all things I need to prepare. So same thing, you need to do that, and in that way you will be able to add relevant things in your resume, add relevant projects in your resume. Also, you will have the good idea that, let's say for specific to Google, these will be the number of rounds. In each round, these will be the important topics I need to focus on, right? So that is the thing you need to actually focus. And last few things, right, last two things I would say, the consistency part is something which is very important for the working professionals. So let's say you are very dedicated, you are very passionate to work in these kind of companies, but you are not able to manage your time for the preparation consistently, then it will be harder to achieve, because these things demand consistency. And another thing is, whenever you are trying to target these kind of companies, just like be honest for everything, right, starting from your resume till your behavioral interviews. Try to be honest, don't try to be fake on your resumes or LinkedIn, because interviewers can catch it in fraction of seconds, what you have worked practically, what you haven't. And if you are just like not being honest and trying to be a fake, then that means you are decreasing your chance of cracking these kind of companies. So these will be the overall summarized tips I would say for everyone who are actually targeting these kind of companies.
Well, that's lovely to know, Shashank. Honestly, I think this is, conversation was very insightful, and our viewers will learn a lot from this, conversation, and probably the wisdom that you have gained over the years. So thanks for sharing that wisdom. Also, can you share some light on your YouTube journey?
So I started writing on LinkedIn first, right? My LinkedIn journey started that time. So first time I just wrote about my 3 rejection journey in Amazon, and that somehow went viral. In a day I received like 1500 connection requests, and that was a motivation factor for me. Like I wrote something practically, people were able to connect with my story. So I thought, why not to start sharing more and more practical experience. So I started writing about my life journey, and that's how I started my network. And then one fine day I started seeing new faces on YouTube, at least in the tech part. Lots of young people, or let's say the entry level freshers, started their YouTube channels. So I thought when they can do it, and prior to that I was highly inspired from Akshay Saini, Gaurav Sen, right? I have followed them. So I took it as an inspiration that these people are working professional and also running these kind of YouTube channels, sharing the knowledge about it. And that time I thought, okay, I will also start something where I can bring people on my channel to share their industrial experience, so that I can help other audience to know more about the recent trends in the IT. Because I was able to relate with my journey in the college, I was not aware enough to explore these things. But why not to bring those people who have actually worked in these kind of job profiles or domain, and when they will talk about their experiences, people will definitely understand that word.
That's a dream journey to have, I think so. And I wish you good luck with all your endeavors that you plan
Thank
to
you, man.
start. And hopefully that, your channel and your LinkedIn profile should just take a boom.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Any parting words before we end this conversation? How was your experience? If you would like to share it with us.
Yeah, that was really great, and I love talking, man. I mean, I've been in featuring people on my channel, so less likely I get these kind of chance to get featured on someone else channels, right? So I definitely enjoy it. And yeah, this is really interesting. I always appreciate these kind of experiences where people are sharing their realistic experience for any job profile, for any domain, or anything specific. So for me, it was really great, and you're a great host, Abhinav.
Thank you. Thanks a
Really
lot.
enjoyed.
Means a lot coming in from you, and hopefully we should catch up soon. Beyond the workspace that we have right now. But it was lovely talking to you, Shashank.
Same here.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. We'll end the conversation over here. For our viewers, if you want to ask anything regarding data, well, Shashank has his YouTube channel and he's on a journey to help many other people. So you can definitely follow his YouTube channel as well, and definitely write it down in the comment section that what are the things that you would want to ask him, and he'll be more than happy to help all of you. Right, Shashank?
Yep, exactly. All the best to everyone.
All right, guys. I hope that you like this video. If you like this video, you guys know what to do. You need to like, share, and subscribe, and just keep on following FAANGPath for more such amazing videos.